can't be a great drink to see that.
It's not.
Man.
Reception's horrible here too.
And you can't, I mean, I know what to sit, I know what to stand, it's good.
All right, folks. Hopefully everybody can hear me at home. Super bad reception here today. Seeing red light, meaning no internet or limited internet. So at a minimum, I will post this full video on YouTube at a later date. But today's game is against the Montgomery Ice Devils here in Rockville, Maryland. This is a AHF regular season game. Also, this is a very bad vantage point. This rink 3 has always been historically bad for videoing, but I'll try to keep everybody up to date as much as possible. All right, looks like we're all set. Start off, Jake, Luca, and Anthony with Blake and Ricky and Aiden Mott in net. Puck's down. Montgomery control, send it back. Opposite side, sends it up. Back out into the neutral zone. Montgomery sends it deep, all the way to the back wall. Pick back up, center back out to the point. Shot attempt. Pick back up against the opposite wall. Montgomery holds the puck out on the wing, takes a fired shot, opposite side for the first goal. Lucas, Ben, Colin out on the ice. Back over to Colin. Colin injures him between his feet. Couldn't find it. Gets all the way back. Aiden knocks it down. Picked up by Bops. Bops up. Back over into the neutral zone. Sent it over to the opposite side. Picked back up. Sent deep. No icing. Lucas back into the corner. Devils send it to the opposite side. Picked up by Thies at the point. Try to send it deep. Devils get to it. Send it deep to the opposite corner. Shot attempt. Aiden knocks it back down into the corner. Picked up. Lucas charging forward. Back opposite side over to Fisher. Fisher lost it between his skates. Thies back. Aiden with the glove save. Fisher out onto the ice. Braden, that is. Back to the back wall. Ice Devils get it. Back out to the point. Send it long. Goes all the way back. Chusa with Peruto and Fisher out on the ice. Little forecheck pressure. Back over. Sent back. I gotta call that an icing call. (15-12) 1-0 Montgomery. Puck's down, back into the corner. Sent up. Coben sends it in. Devils pick it up along the boards. Cusa back over to put pressure. Fisher back over to help out, back out to the point. Wright keeps it in. Back along to Cusa. Cusa looking out front. Devils. Center. Breakout. Ricky on the back check. Send it back to the point. Shot attempt goes off the crossbar. Picked up by Ricky. Ricky into the corner. Back over to Fisher. Fisher gets it up just outside the reach of Cusa. Delayed offside. Devils clear. Team Philly picks it up. Sends it back down. Tries to tap it forward. Does. Kick forward by Peruto. Foot race back all the way down. Back centering pass. Nobody's there. Sent right to the Devils. Devils pick it up. Back out. Sent all the way to the opposite side. Push back up. Lucas taps it forward. Sent all the way to the opposite side. Thies alongside the boards. Nichols onto the ice. Back over to Blake. Blake in the corner. Tries to peel a guy off him. Try to send long. Shot goes wide. Thies back over into the corner. Pressure onto the puck. Puck's just floating out front. Nice save by Aiden. Not sure if he saw it. It's probably under him. Yep, it is under him. Barthol on the faceoff. Try to drive it back over to Bops. Bops sends it to the opposite side, picked up by Luca. Luca tries to clear the zone. Montgomery maintains his zone. Picked up by Coben. Coben forward, back over to Heston, just outside of his reach. Devils cycle back to the other side. Sent deep. Devils into the opposite side corner. Back along the boards. Pressure onto the puck. Knocked back down. Comes away with it. Back over to Tobin. Shot attempt. Devils pick it up. Send over to the opposite side. Aiden with the glove save. So 12:32, 1-0 Devils. Team Philly still looking to put a shot on net. Lucas on the face-off. Back over to the opposite side. Weaves through. And Aiden puts a glove on it. Took an odd bounce. Fisher, Cusa, Peruto. Pucks down, makes its way all the way to Aiden again. Devils get a shot off again. Back over. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher trying to jump it in. Center ice, back over to Peruto. Peruto gets a shot off. Kick saved by the goaltender. Back out to the point. Kept in by Blake. Dropped down. Peruto just couldn't control it. Now Peruto gets it. Tries to get a shot off. Loses an edge. Devils come out. Break out to the opposite side. Blake on the back check. Sends it over to the opposite side to Ricky. Ricky looking for some help. Sends it long. Opposite side to Peruto. Back over to Peruto. Forces through. Cusa's with him. Back along the boards. Picked back up by Ricky. Ricky sends it deep. Delayed offside. Cleared. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Nichols out onto the ice. Nichols knocks it down. Back over to Lucas. Lucas sends it over to the opposite side. Picked back up along the boards. Picked up by Nichols. Puck comes out, all the way back over to Thies. It's an offsides. Puck's down. Sent over to the opposite side. Devils try to send it on net. Picked up by Thies. Thies sends it into the neutral zone. Picked up by Lucas. Sends it deep. Zimmerman back over to help him out. Lucas is there to hold it in. Back over to. Picked up by Zimmerman. Gets a shot off. Good opportunity for Team Philadelphia. Crowd in front of the net. 2-on-2. Comes across. Offsides because of the delay. Oh, sorry, a penalty on the Ice Devils. So Team Philadelphia will be up a man on a power play for the next 2 minutes. Puck's down, Devils get it. Back into the corner. Fisher, back over the pressure on the puck. Looking for a little bit of help. Knocked down by Lucas. I disagree with that. That was bar level, but so high stick. Fisher, Zimmerman, Doherty, Mott. Puck's dropped back into the corner. Nichols picks it up. Nichols cycles, waits. Comes up. Cycles it back over to Nichols. Nichols comes across center ice. Guy loses an edge, falls down. Nichols looking. Center. Back over to Lucas. Lucas picks it up at the point. Back out to the point to Doherty. Back out to Lucas. Kick save. Sent back over to the opposite side. Picked up at the point by Doherty. Doherty at the point. Back over to Zimmerman. Opposite side. Cleared the zone. Back out. 1:03 left in the power play for Team Philadelphia. Doherty. Picked up by Blake. Blake's got a couple guys on him. Picked up in the neutral zone over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman's 3-on-2 opportunity back over to Lucas. Clears it. Almost had it. .29 seconds left. Back over to Doherty. Doherty across center ice. Back over to Blake. Blake tried to get Fisher coming up the center ice. Back over to Peruto. Peruto, pressure onto Ricky at the blue line, holds it steady. Waits. Gets a shot off. Sticks here into the corner. Ricky looking. And that goes out of play. Jake, Luca, Anthony with Thies and Bots. Puck down, shot, kick saved by the goaltender. Back over to Thies. Thies gets it back up outside the reach of Jake. Set long. Back over the opposite side over to Bops. Bops loses an edge. Picked up, swatted that, back out in the zone. Pick back up. Jake looks to get opposite side back over to Luca. Luca gets a shot off. It goes wide. Back over to Barthel. Barthel back out to Thies at the point. Sends it in. Barthel swipes at it. Jake in the corner. Centering shot. Gets a shot off. Lucas, Ben, Colin, Thies and Bops out on defense. 7:40 left first period, 1-0. Oh, wow. Goaltender didn't know where it was. Devils pick it up, face off, back out. Centering pass. Come across the blue line. Bops back over. Back over to Lucas. Lucas tries to clear the zone. Back along the boards. Back over to Doherty. Doc. Try to hit Lucas, going the opposite side, intercepted in the blue line. Picked up by Thies. Thies cycles it back over to Bops, centers it back over to Thies. Thies looking long, tries to get outside the zone, intercepted by defender. On the face-off, tied up, tangled over to Ricky. Ricky puts a guy in his back pocket, comes forward, looks, sends it back up mini, she's on over to Peruto. Peruto gets checked, center ice, gets held up, back over to Tobin. Tobin gets it back up to Cusa. Cusa back over to Fisher. Fisher driving forward, charges back up, center pass, right to a defender. back out to the point. Ricky sends it over to the opposite side. Team Philly clears the zone. Back over. Centering pass. Back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it deep. Doubles try to clear the zone. Back over to Tobin. Tobin gets it back over to Fisher. Fisher drops it in. No icing. Back along the boards. Cycled over to the opposite side. Crudo, little token pressure. Got back out center ice for the Devils. Devils pick the puck up. Try to get a shot off Ricky off his shin guards. Now it's back out in the neutral zone. Fisher gets around his man. Back over to Crudo. Crudo gets tangled up. Can't do much with it. Back out to Krecker. Krecker, opposite side over to Ricky. Ricky sends it back over. Fisher drops it in. Lucas out on the ice, putting pressure onto the puck. Gets it back out over to Krecker. Krecker gets his shot off. Nichols, Zimmerman, Mott. Puck's down back into the corner. They're trying to pick it up. Lucas gets it, sends it on net, goes high and wide. Back over, back behind the net. Picked up by Nichols. Nichols back into the corner. Turns corner, back over to Lucas. Lucas, oh, gets a beautiful pass back over to Zimmerman. Caught the goalie off guard, just went high and over his head. Nichols on the faceoff. Zimmerman swiped at it. Devils try to clear it back out. Now it comes out of the zone. Lucas in pursuit. Sends it over to the opposite side. Picked up by Blake. Shot attempt goes off of Lucas' stick, goes wide. Picked back up by the Devils, centering pass. Shot attempt goes high and over Aiden's head. Sent deep over to the opposite side. Shot attempt redirected, goes wide of the net. Back over to Lucas. Lucas cycles on the other side, back over to Blake. Blake up to Zimmerman. Zimmerman couldn't control, picked up by the Devils. Shot attempt. Off the defender's skates, go high and back. Back over to Kobe. Sorry, Aiden. Lucas sends it deep. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Picked up by Jake. Jake looking. Sends it back over. Opposite side. Picked up by Anthony. Anthony looking to get around the defender. Can't do it. Jake on the opposite side. Galley puck cycles it back over to Anthony. 3:40 left in the period. Devils try to get around. Tobin keeps it forward. Back over to Jake. Jake with a good backhand keeps it in the zone. Anthony, a little pressure, swipes at it. Knocks it down. Devils send it along the board, centering pass, breakout, opposite side, picked back up by Bops. Bops centers it back into neutral ice, sent deep, opposite side, Aiden picks it up the boards, gets it outside the zone, picked up by Lucas. Lucas opposite side, got Colin. Colin opposite side had Ben Fisher coming on the ice, back over to Lucas. Lucas gets the shot off. Gets a shot, scores, Fisher. Gets it in the net with a good feed from Doherty. So Team Philly gets on the board. Ben Fisher with a 5-hole shot at the 2:57 mark. Even this game up at 1 apiece. .257 mark. Puck's down, picked up by the Devils, sent back over. Fisher had to wait for the zone to clear, back over opposite side, gets a shot off. Goaltender knocks it down, pick back up, it's down. And that'll be an icing call. Lucas, Colin, Ben. Pucks down, back out to the point. Ricky holds it in the zone, sends it down. Lucas, try to get a hold of it. Colin back over to help out. Lucas gets it. Lucas cycles, looks. That was a takedown if I ever saw one. No call on that. Back over, Blake. Around the edge, gets it into the neutral zone. Picked up by Lucas. Lucas charges forward. Gets a shot off. Centering pass. Goes right out to the point to Blake. Blake gets a shot off. Glove down by the goaltender. Getting some firepower against the net now. At the 2:06 mark. East, Bobs, Braden Fisher, Cusa, and Peruto out on the ice. Puck's drop. Back over. Peruto picks it up, gets a shot off. Back center pass. .158 left in the first period, 1-1. And that goes out of play. Fisher on the faceoff. Devils control the opposite side, picked up in the corner by Cusa. Cusa back over to Fisher. Fisher looking. Center pass back over to Peruto. Peruto couldn't get on a stick strong enough. Back out to the point. Leafs just couldn't pull the trigger fast enough. Had an opportunity. Shot attempt goes wide. Back over to Fisher. Fisher pushes out to the point. Opposite side, picked up. Wow, redirect. Aiden luckily spread wide, got a hold of that one. Nichols, Lucas, Zimmerman, back out on the ice, back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it out to side. Lucas back into the corner, try to pick it up. Ricky back over to help out. Tobin back into the corner, sends it back up. Still battling along the boards, picked up center, back behind the net. Picked back up. Kick along the boards, Team Philly gets it, back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it forward, tried to clear the zone, unable to do so. Had Lucas on the opposite side, streaking up back over to Ricky. Ricky back over to Lucas, taps it forward, back into the zone. Devils get it, cleared. Ooh, turnover by Kobe with a good opportunity, gets it on his stick. Unable to gather, back over to Ricky. Ricky keeps it in the zone. Kick saved by the goaltender, nice shot on net. Back out to the point. Devils come across, send deep in the opposite corner. Picked up by Ricky. Back out to Zimmerman, try to clear the zone, still can't. Back over. Nice defensive pressure by Nichols to keep that puck away from the net. Back into the corner. Kobe's back over to help out. Leaves his man. Wow, backhand shot attempt. Aiden with a nice save with 15 seconds left. Barthol, face off. Back into the corner, sent back out in the neutral zone. No icing, high enough. 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And that will be the end of the period. All right, so at the end of 1-1, after a quick goal out of the gate by Montgomery to start the game. Team Philly comes back with a score by Ben Fisher.
Got a shift.
We should get support.
Good about yourself?
They didn't give you any stand.
I know, there's not much here at all.
And then you keep hitting this, right?
Yeah, I just try to keep it at center line. All right, looks like we're all set. Start second period, 1-1. Second period, Line, Doherty, Fisher, Mott, Krecker, and Wright. Ready for the opening face-off. Puck's down, sent forward by Fisher all the way deep. Doherty on the forecheck all the way back along the boards, puts pressure onto the puck. Fisher on the opposite side tries to stop, does. Back along the boards. Doubles come across. Shot attempt goes high. Takes a weird bounce off the boards. Ricky back over the opposite side to Lucas. Lucas crossing blue line. Tries to get opposite side over to Doherty. Doherty centering pass. Good job by Lucas to pick that up. Almost had to clear vision out to the opposite side. Picked up Ricky, tried to clear it, keep it in the zone. Was unable to do so. Sent back over. Back over to Blake. Back over to Lucas. Lucas taps it forward. Doubles, opposite side. Back into the zone, and that goes into the doubles bench. Puck's down opposite side. Peruto racing forward. Good job by Bobs to keep it in. Peruto on the forecheck back into the corner. Looks. Gets it off the opposite side. Back over to Fisher. Fisher right in the slot. It was on the weak side of Thies. Back over to Bobs. Aiden came out of net. Tipped forward by Peruto. Back over behind the net. Back over to Fisher. Fisher center pass. Gets a shot off. Goaltender had no idea where it was. Another attempt by Cusa. Wow, good series by Team Philadelphia. Couldn't put it in the net. Back over to Fisher. Fisher looking. Shot attempt. Back over to Fisher. Fisher sends it opposite side. Peruto tried to get over to Cusa. Back over to Fisher. Bops, opposite side, back out to Thies. Thies, shot attempt. Goes just by the goaltender. Picked back up in the neutral zone by Devils. Try to kick long. Good job by Thies to literally kick it forward. Peruto challenges, tries to squeeze through, is unable to do so. Back out over to Cusa, back out to the point. It's a shot attempt. Wow, Team Philadelphia, a lot of action on that series. Probably 3 or 4 shots on goal. Apparently the scorekeeper has him at 24. I don't necessarily disagree with them. Nichols, Zimmerman, Mott, Tobin, and Wright on the ice. Puck's drop. Nichols back into the corner, fights for it, gets to the puck first, sends it around to the opposite side. Lucas back over, puts his body in the way. Montgomery tries to send it long. They're going to call that off. I'm not sure how they didn't wave the other one off before. Ricky back into the back boards. Tobin back over to help him out. Lucas tried to slip it forward. Still alongside the boards. Try to pick it up. Back out. Lucas got two guys with him. Lucas knocks a man off the puck. Send it back out. Shot attempt goes wide. Back out to Zimmerman. Off it to Tobin. Tobin sends it in. Still in the zone. Back over to Lucas. Lucas back opposite side over to... Nice opposite side look. Intercepted by a defenseman. Picked back up. Knocked back down. Sent back out to Lucas. Lucas. Tobin gets it. Sent it deep. Devils try to clear the zone. Picked up by Tobin. Tobin. Cleared. Back out in the neutral zone. Back out to Krecker. Krecker tried to push it forward. Back. Luca out onto the ice. Centers it. Back over to Jake. Jake had an opportunity. Back over to Krecker. Krecker. Over to Luca. Luca. Send it deep. Picked up. Jake gets hold of it. Looking. Gets a shot off. I don't know how he did. That was a great effort. A little bit of a takedown. Coaches looking for a little bit of help on the penalty call there, but nothing called. Anthony. Devils swinging around to the opposite side. Picked back up. Sent all the way out center ice. Picked up by Thies. Thies sends it back over to Krecker. Krecker tried to get it out. Intercepted at the neutral zone. Krecker. Devils come across. Center pass makes its way out to the neutral zone. Delayed offsides. Picked up by Aiden. Dropped over for Krecker. Krecker gets it. Krecker. Sideline. Back over to the opposite side. No icing called. Barthol on the forecheck. Back into the boards. Back out. Blake tried to keep it in the zone. Good job. Lucas is there. Pivot forward. Tried to kick it out. Now it makes it all the way back down the ice. There should be an icing call on that. And there is. Let's go. Thank you. Bops, Fisher, Lucas, Colin, Tobin. Puck's drop. Lucas forced down to his knees, picked up by the Devils. Devils try to jump it forward. Sent back over to the opposite side, over to Tobin. Tobin back into the corner, sends it back up, over to Lucas. Lucas try to clear it back up. No, Collins there. He's got Fisher out in front with him. Nice shot attempt. Wow. Good reaction by the goaltender. Give him credit on those good shot attempts. Puck's down. Blocker side save. Fisher with another good shot. Back out. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher tried to get it off the backside. Couldn't. Back out to the neutral zone. Aiden with a nice save. Back over to Fisher. Fisher looking. Got Doherty with him. Got Lucas trailing. Back over. Back over to Lucas. Scores! Drops it back for the second score of the game. Fisher to Mott at the 11-11 mark. Team Philly coming to life. Fisher, one back by Team Philadelphia over to Blake. Blake just outside of his reach, pivots it forward, back opposite side. Knocked down by Peruto. Peruto out of the air, tries to drop it in. Stick it back over, back into the corner. Puck's down. Sent deep. Doubles into the corner, send it alongside the boards, opposite side. Oh, feed back out. Had a guy cutting down the slot. Peruto's there. Had to push forward. Cusa had to draw it back. Had offsides going on. Now it's back out. Cusa sends it deep over the opposite side. Glove down by a defender. Sent back to the opposite side. Good pressure by Cusa. Back over. Got a guy in the slot. Fisher. Pick back up. Back over to Cusa at the point. Back out to Trekker. Good shot attempt. I don't think it got to the goaltender. Back out all the way. Pick back up for Ricky. Ricky keeps it in. Sent deep on the opposite side. Peruto back pressure onto the puck with Fisher. Back over Peruto. Oh, try to get a shot off. Goes just wide. Sent deep and long. Ricky on the back check all the way back. Ricky sends it back out to Fisher. Back over. And the goaltender puts a glove on it. Nichols, Zimmerman, Lucas out on the ice, back out to Zimmerman. Zimmerman tried to get a shot off, goes wide. Thies drives forward, pressure, back over to Nichols. Nichols tried to get the puck off the stick. Centering pass, opposite side, back over to the Devils. Devils cross the blue line, bops on the soft saucer pass. Good attempt by the Devils, back out in the neutral zone. Zimmerman's there, picked up by Lucas. Lucas back over. Sorry, that was Nichols. Sent back out over to Lucas. Lucas gets a shot attempt. Goes off the goaltender. Stick steered into the corner. 8:58 left in the period. It's going to be a cross check by, I think, by the Devils. Yes. So 74, I think it was, on the cross check at the 8:55 mark. So Team Philadelphia will be on a power play for the next up to 2 minutes. Fisher, Doherty, Mott, Zimmerman, and Nichols out on the ice. Puck drop, back over. Doc out to the point. Nichols sends it deep, back over to Fisher. Fisher looking. Cycle it back. Sent back out to the point. Knocked back down. Back over. Knocked down by Kobe. Kobe. Back over. Shot attempt. Scores! Lucas with his second goal of the game. Rebound comes off. So Team Philadelphia gets a power play goal at the 8:28 mark. All right, so Montgomery decides to call a timeout at the 8:28 mark. As Team Philadelphia has 3 unanswered goals to get this to a 3-1 game. All right, so 8:28 left second period. Team Philly up 3-1. Goals by Fisher, 2 by Mott. After being outside almost 10 shots to nothing at the very beginning, now it's 34-14. So puck's down, back over. Tobin thinking about it. Tries to clear it back up. Picked up by Nichols. Nichols sends it around to the opposite side. Shot attempt goes outside of Aiden's reach. Picked up by Tobin. Sends it back over to Ricky. Ricky trying to get peeled off. Back out into the wing. Picked up by the Devils. Devils pressure into the back. Send it over to the opposite side. Tobin back over. Put to the corner. He's got Zimmerman and Nichols with him. Back out. And that goes off of Lucas's skates into the protective webbing. Fisher, Deese, Blake, Peruto, and Cusa out onto the ice. Puck's down, back into the corner. Blake over to knock it down. Peruto back over, tries to knock it forward, almost got by. Back onto the wing, picked up by Blake. Blake tries to get it back out. Good stick by Peruto to hold it in. Back over to Fisher. Fisher's got Peruto long. 2-on-1 if they get it there. Cusa back over to help him out. Puck's down. Ooh, nice feed by... Wow, Fisher from his knees gets it over to Cusa. Clock is running. 7:12. Says penalty on the board, but there's no penalty. Fisher on the face-off. Back down. Cusa back over. Gets it alongside in the corner. Looks. Fisher gets back to his feet. Pressure into the boards. Back over to Peruto. Peruto tried to pull it back through. Lost it. Devils come across ice. Try to get it over guys streaking on the wing. Unable to do so. Peruto pressure onto the puck. Shot attempt goes high into a defender's mask. Back into the corner. And the referee is going to call it dead. Fisher, Doherty, Mott, Tobin, and Bobst out on the ice. Puck stop. Lucas, below his feet, picked back up by Bobst, sent back out to Doherty. Lucas has got Fisher with him on the opposite side. Back over. Oh, Lucas had a point-blank shot attempt. Puck's down, back in the corner. Lucas pulls it out away. Back over, Doherty over in the corner to help him out. Lucas gets stood up. Montgomery tries to clear the zone, held in the zone, back opposite side, alongside the boards. Try to send it back out. Bobson, good job of knocking it down quickly, releasing back into the opposite side corner. Picked up, turnover by Fisher, picked up, sent it back out to the point. Shot attempt goes really high, back over to Bobst. Bobst tries to knock it back over to Lucas. Lucas tried to clear it back up, all the way down. No icing, back over to Tobin. Tobin checked into the boards, picked up by Fisher. Fisher knocks it into the neutral zone. 3-on-1. Aiden with a nice kick save. Oh my gosh, redirect. Could see it from here. Aiden had spread his pad wide for an opposite side kick and redirect right in between his pads, 5 holes. So at the 5:25 mark, the Ice Devils get another one on the board to make it 3-2. So Devils get it. Try to send it long, and it's going to be a center ice faceoff after going into their bench. Drop back, sent to the Devils. Back in the neutral zone, picks it up, sends it forward, jumps Blake's stick all the way back into the corner. Send it over to the opposite side. Get a shot attempt, Aiden knocks it down. Devils gather it back out on the point. Over. Shot attempt goes wide. Jake alongside the boards picks it up, tries to clear it out of the zone, unable to do so. Back over to Ricky. Ricky try to pull it clean, unable to do so. Shot attempt, I think Aiden may have gotten a piece of it. Centering pass. Montgomery with the score. Actually, they may have waved that off. They waved that off. The net was off the post, so they waved that off, so it's still 3-2. Puck's down, sent back behind the net, doubles back into the corner. Bops pressure onto the puck. Lucas picks it up, sends it forward. Lucas in a foot race, back over with Zimmerman, picked up almost by Lucas, and picked up centering pass, directed back into the backboards, back over to Lucas, back over to Kobe. Kobe on the opposite side, picked up by Thies. Still loose, back out to the point. And the net came off. Zimmerman, Bobst, Thies, Nichols, Lucas. 4:07 left second period. Back out to the point to Thies. Thies sent it back over to Lucas. Lucas tried to center pass, thought about it, held it, loses it in the corner. Devils send it over to the opposite side. Picked up, try to clear it out, get it out to the neutral zone, send it deep. Just outside the reach of Thies. Thies back over. Sent it back up along the boards. Nichols tries to knock it down. Devils pick it up. Back out to the point. Jumps the stick. Comes up. Devils have to wait to clear the zone. Whoop. Bobst on the back check. Sends it back over to the opposite side, over to Thies. Thies got somebody on him. Drops it in. Foot race. Kobe gets to it. Center pass back over. Lucas back over. Pressure. Back out to the point. Lucas thought about it. Centering pass. Back over to Nichols. Nichols tried to drop it out to Bobst at the point. Shot attempt. Knocked down. Right in front of the goaltender. Nichols. There. Zimmerman tried to pick up. Kick saved by Aiden. Back over. Centering pass. Another save by Aiden. Back out to the point. And Aiden with the glove save. Fisher, Cusa, Peruto, Ricky, and Bobst out on the ice. Puck's down, sent back out to the point. Comes outside the zone, picked up by Cusa. Cusa tried to get it long over to Peruto, streaking on the opposite side. Back into the neutral zone. Tobin thought about it. Back along the boards, Ricky fighting for the puck. Tobin picks it up, tries to center it upside. Kick forward, back over to Fisher. Fisher swiped at it. Devils send it over to the opposite side corner. Devils behind the net. Ricky back pressure into the corner. Picked back up by Fisher. Fisher puts pressure onto the defender, fighting for the puck. Now there's two of each team. Tobin tries to kick it alongside, outside the zone. Redirect, jumps outside of Aiden's reach on the opposite side, picked up by Peruto. Peruto tried to drop it forward. Cusa back pressure, gets to it. Cusa, good pressure, back over to Peruto. Peruto looking, couldn't get off the stick quick enough. Peruto again, good pressure onto the puck, back in the neutral zone. Drop down, Tobin, that'll be an icing call. .125 left second period, 3-2 Team Philly. Lucas, Ben, Colin. Montgomery wins face-off, comes back out. Good pressure by Fisher. Sent back up, picked up in the neutral zone. Back over to Thies in the corner. Thies tries to swipe at it, knock it down. Back over to Lucas, try to help out. Centering pass, right in the slot. That looked like it could have been a trip. Sent deep all the way to the opposite side. Lucas. There's going to be, 16 with a trip. So at the 57 mark, second mark, Team Philly will have its third power play opportunity. Fisher, Mott, Doherty, Zimmerman, and Nichols out onto the ice. Special unit. Puck down, picked up by Lucas, sent back out over to Nichols. Nichols, opposite side, dangerous pass. Picked back up. Wow. Nichols, good job getting there. Aiden was off his skates. Nichols comes up. Got Lucas trailing with him. Back over to Fisher. Fisher hops aside back over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman sends it deep. Both Lucas and Kobe back over to help out. Kobe gives it up to Self. Back over to corner to Doherty. Cycles it back. Got to look to get a shot off. 11 seconds. Scores! Kobe with a wrister. Quick action score with 6 seconds left in the period. After a nice feed from the corner, I think it was by Colin. So Team Philadelphia puts a fourth on the board with 6 seconds remaining in the period. Luca Bartel. Fisher out on the ice, drop, and that should just about do it. All right, so the end of 2, and Team Philadelphia up 4-2 off of a nice wrister by Kobe. Probably caught just above the pad on the glove side for the goaltender. All right, looks like we're all set for the third period. Nichols, Zimmerman, Lucas with Blake and Ricky back on defense. 17 minutes left in the game. Touchdown, back over to Blake. Oh, Blake, bad turnover. And scored. So, bad defensive turnover. One-on-one with Aiden. Gets the glove side to make it a 4-3 game. Right out of the gate. Peace, Bobs, Nichols, Lucas, Zimmerman. Puck stop, back over. Peace on the back check. Back in the right. Try to send it long. And it goes the opposite side. Zimmerman over to help out. Bobs gets knocked down, picked up by Nichols. Lucas sends it deep all the way back to the back wall, and are they going to call that an icing? I guess they are. Fisher on the face-off. Makes its way all the way back to Aiden. Gloves it. Braden kicks it down, back out to the point. Devils drop it alongside the board. Pick back up, centering pass. Devils gain control, center neutral zone, send it all the way back outside of Aiden's reach. Picked up all along the boards by the Devils. Cusick sends it forward. Peruto in a foot race. That'll probably be an icing call. Yep. $16 minutes left in the game. Fisher, touchdown. Devils look to control, picked up by Fisher and on the backboards. Kicked up back over to Peruto. Peruto's got a guy on him, unable to control. Back over Fisher, puts a body on. Tobin centers it back opposite side. Cusa. Over. Centering pass by the Devils goes across crease, just outside the reach. Aiden with the steer back into the corner after a shot from the point, back out to the point again. Aiden drops it in, that goes into the protective webbing. Back into the corner. Peace gets it. Tries to clear the zone. Goes off his own player. Aiden corrals it. Pucks down. Back over. Just outside the reach. Devils get a shot off, goes wide. Get another shot off, goes wide again. Back over the Feast. Feast tried to clear it back up, so unable to do so. Back into the corner. Team Philly having difficulty clearing the zone. Sent back over the opposite side. Ooh, Cusa by himself. Got a guy in his pocket. Nice glove save. Lucas, Fisher, Doherty, Thies, Krecker. Devils win it back. Clear it out in the neutral zone, back over to Thies. Thies, send it deep. Team Philly clears the zone, back over. Doherty tries to knock it down, picked up by the Devils. Devils come across, center ice, send it deep. That's an icing call. .33 left. Lucas on the faceoff. Try to win it through. Picked up by the Devils. Into the neutral zone across the red line, now across the blue line. Got a shot off. Aiden with a nice save. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher back over the opposite side to Doherty. Doherty comes up across the blue line. He's got Lucas following with him. Try to center pass, goes off a defender's stick. Fisher's back over. Doherty back along the boards. And the net is off again. Barthol, Jake, Luca, Tobin, and Bobst. All set. Barthol face off. Luca tried to get a shot off. Fighting alongside the boards. Tried to pick the puck up. Jake over to help out. Jake gets it. Looking. Sends it back out to the point to Tobin. Tobin with a shot attempt. Goes high. Back over to Bops. Bops sends it back. And there's a penalty coming up that I think is going to be on the Devils for interference. Yes, that would be number 3. So at the 13:46 mark, the Devils will be down again. I think that's the 4th penalty of the game. Special teams on. Doherty, Fisher, Mott, Zimmerman, Nichols. Fisher. Devils win it back into the corner. Try to hold it. Several people there. Fisher looking. Fisher gets it. Looking. Back over the opposite side. Doherty tries to cycle it back over to Fisher. Fisher waits. Lucas. Good feed to Lucas. Back over the opposite side to Doherty. Doherty looking. Cycles it back. Back over to Kobe. Kobe gets a shot off. Back out to the point. Sent back to the opposite side. Doherty keeps it in the zone. Picked back up. Toyed like he was going to go. Now it's back over to Lucas. Lucas goes off the goaltender's stick. Picked back up. Kept in the zone. Zimmerman. Back over to Fisher. Fisher looking. Doherty. To Fisher. Shot attempt by Nichols, knocked down. Nichols tried to kneel down to hold it in, could not do it. Montgomery with a line change. Lucas comes up, drives forward, splits a couple defenders, gets around a man, scores! Holy cow! Lucas drives around for the hat trick, splits several defenders. That was impressive. So it makes this a 5-3 game. All right, so apparently there's going to be a penalty coming up on Team Philly. So it looks like Ricky for an interference call, I believe. Yes. Actually, no, it's not Ricky. It is on Kobe. Sorry, at the 12:26 mark, so Team Philly's first penalty kill of the game. Fisher bops right, and Barthol back over. Bops sends it long. Devils gather. Get the breakout, send it along the boards, get into the neutral zone, send it back up, comes across the blue line. Fisher is over, help him out. Devils try to get something set up, back out to the point. Devils back out to the point. Opposite side. Aiden with the steer back into the corner. Barcel. Try to get it back out. Opposite side pass scores at the 11:46 mark. So 5-4 at the 11:46 mark. Doherty, Lucas, Fisher, Krecker, Deese, puck's down. Devils get it. Lucas pressure onto the puck, back out into the neutral zone. Devils come across the blue line, that's an offsides. All the way around to the opposite side. Centering pass, picked up by Thies. Thies looking, gets it over, sent forward. That will probably be an icing call, no icing. Going to wave it off. Fisher back, pressure onto the boards. Doherty with him, back over to Fisher. Fisher sends it back over to Doherty. Picked up by the Devils. Devils charging forward, comes across. Sent back over to the opposite side, picked up by Blake. Blake to Fisher, just outside of his reach, try to kick it down. Sent back into the neutral zone. Back over, Aiden knocks it back for Krecker. Krecker gets taken down. There's going to be a penalty coming up on the referee's kicking a fan out. So at the 10:55 mark, Team Philadelphia will again have a power play. Fisher, face off, back out to the point, over to Nichols. Nichols, nice redirect. Back over to Nichols. Nichols, back into the wing. Back over to Fisher. Fisher, nobody on him. Ooh, turned it over, back opposite side. Poke forward in the opposite. Good pressure by Zimmerman, picked up by Lucas. Lucas, toe drag around opposite side, pass over to Fisher. Fisher couldn't control it. Back over, looking, cycles it back over to Doherty. Doherty back into the corner. Holds it, fakes the pass, waits. Back over. Fisher. Back out to Nichols. Pick back up, Fisher. Try to toe drag around, unable to do so, sent long, all the way back. Lucas picks it up, or Aiden picks it up, back over to Lucas. 1:07 left, Lucas charging forward. Comes across. Try to clear it, back out. Doherty picks it back up. Back over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman cycles it back out. Doherty, back over to Fisher. Fisher holds off, gets a shot off, doesn't quite make it to the protective netting, back to the back wall. Fisher tries to knock it back down. Devils send it long, 33 seconds left on the Team Philadelphia power play. Aiden cycles it back to the other side. Lucas back over to help, 23 seconds left. Doherty gets it, 18. Doherty Back over to Kobe. Kobe tried to get to it. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher and new onto the ice. Back over. And that's just about kill it. Now it's picked up by Blake. Comes across the blue line. Tried to drag it down. Try to kick it forward. And that will be a neutral zone face-off as it hits the rafters. Puck's down, back over to Blake, into the neutral zone, over to Prudo. Wow. Centering pass attempt by Team Philadelphia gets picked up by the Devils. That looked like could have been an offsides. Back over to Blake. Back over to Prudo. Prudo tried to clear it back into the neutral zone. Prudo kicks it forward. Prudo doing battle of center ice. Picked up still in the neutral zone. Should have been something there. Opposite side pass, got lucky. Blake's without a stick. Back over to Ricky. Ricky gets out into the neutral zone. Ice Devils, 3-on-1. Good job by Team Philadelphia, still trying to clear the zone, unable to do so. Feast with a good shoulder save. Now it comes out in the neutral zone. That should be, actually it won't make an icing call. Team Philadelphia with a line change. Come back up. Lucas out onto the ice. Comes across the blue line. Tries to drive around back to the back corner. Got two guys on him. Getting elbowed in the head. Sent back over to Doherty. Doherty tries centering pass. Devils come away with it into the neutral zone. Now it's across center ice, now across the blue line. And Aiden with a nice save. .7:02 left in the game, 5-4 Team Philly. Lucas tried to get it, Bops peels it away. Back over to Lucas. Lucas, center pass back opposite side to Doherty. Doherty comes across. Try to feed Lucas coming up the slot. Fisher's there. Pressure onto the puck. Lucas, pressure. Devils look to regroup, send it to the opposite corner, kicked into the neutral zone, dropped down, come across the blue line. Shot attempt goes wide. Feast back over to help out. Devils do pick it up, centering pass, opposite, back over to Doherty. Doherty into the neutral zone, battling for the puck. Aiden with a stick steer into the corner. Barthel, Jake, Luca with Tobin. Anthony. One back over to Ricky. Ricky sends it up to the neutral zone, picked up. Got Luca coming across the blue line. Sends it deep. Luca on the forecheck. Pressure. Jake. Cycle back over. Devils come away with it. Center ice. That'll be an icing call. Nichols, Mott, Zimmerman, Ricky, Tobin. Back over. Kobe gets a shot off. Lucas tries to turn and fire. Doubles. Set it over. Pops it. Send it deep. Aiden's there. And puts a glove on it. Nichols on the face-off. Back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it over to the opposite side. Ricky back over. Fight for the puck. Sent back into the neutral zone. Picked up. Nichols. Good pressure onto the puck. Lucas swings at it. And Aiden with a nice glove save. Anthony, back into the corner. Back out to the point, try to play the zone. Still alongside the board, sent deep in the opposite side. Tobin over to recover. Pulls it back to himself. Opposite side, back over to Anthony. Anthony tries to kick it forward, back over to Anthony. Anthony sends it deep. Goaltender knocks it back down. Anthony tries to hold it in the corner, unable to do so. Jake over, putting pressure on. Could have been a penalty. Devils back into the neutral zone. Picked up by Luca. Luca sends it deep. Line change for Team Philadelphia as the puck makes its way behind the net. .422 sent to the opposite side. Doherty with Fisher and Mott out onto the ice. Doubles come across. A single double. 4 defenders coming up. Back over to Doherty. Doherty tries to get it out to Lucas. Lucas swipes at it. Doubles send it deep. Back over to Fisher. Fisher drops it in. Devils pick it up into the corner. Sent alongside the board. Try to clear his zone. Thies is back there. Drops it back over to Lucas. Just outside of his reach. Now picks it up. Tries to make its way through a man. No call on the elbow to the head. Devils. 3-on-3. Come across. Thies tries not to get beat around the corner. Pick back up. Opposite side. Ooh. Aiden, luckily, tried to move off his skates. Pick back up. Now it's back over to Doherty. Doherty's back over to Lucas. Lucas comes across. Gets it knocked away from him. Devils send it into the neutral zone. Thies with a good check at center ice. Picked up by Bops. Bops back over to Lucas. Lucas. Try to send it deep. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Devils send it over, and that'll be an icing call. .302 left in the game. 5-14 Philly. Fisher, Cusa, Peruto, Tobin, and Bobst. Picked up by Cusa. Sent on net, goes wide. Back out to Tobin at the point. Steered to the corner by the goaltender. Picked up by Bobst. Sends it back over to the corner. Peruto's back over to put pressure on to the puck. 2:43 left in the game. Sent back to the other side. Back out into the neutral zone. Bops back over to help on the back check. Bops gets it back over to Peruto. Peruto into the neutral zone. Picked up by Tobin. Tobin sent to the opposite corner. Cusa taking pressure. Devils come across center ice. Now across the blue line. Drop it in. Braden Fisher back on the back check, back over, pick up by Tobin. Tobin tries to send it upside the boards. Pick back up. Foot race. Husa. Now gets it. Sends it deep. A minute 54. Fisher. Picked up by Peruto. Peruto. Got two guys on him. Fisher looks to pull it out. Minute 40. Back over to Tobin. Tobin drops it in. Lucas out on the ice. Nichols. And Zimmerman. Lucas, sorry. Nichols. Pressure onto the puck. Back over to Luca. Good job by Blake as he comes onto the ice. Drop back down. Kick forward by Luca. Sent to the other side. 1:09 left. I'm sure that Montgomery's going to look to pull the goalie. Lucas with a token pressure. Back over, tip forward. Precker. Back over to Ricky. Ricky tried to clear it off the boards. All the way down. And that'll be an icing. So 47 seconds left. And Montgomery has pulled their goalie. All right, so extra man on for the Devils. 47 seconds left. Fisher on the face-off, picked up by Bobst. Bobst. Back into the corner. Bobst gets it. Kick back into the neutral zone. Barthol with a little token pressure onto it. Barthol gets it. Got nobody between him and the net. Scores! Barthol with a nice wrister. So an empty netter. Good defensive stand by Team Philly with Anthony Barthol getting on the board at the 30-second mark. Puck's down, back over. Barthel's there again. Gets it knocked away from him. Pick back up. Luca sends it deep. 23 seconds left. Luca, little token pressure, back over. Sent deep, tap forward. Ricky on the back check. 10 seconds. Holding the puck up. 8. Referees deciding to run the clock. All right, so that's the end of game 1. Team Philly comes away with a 6-4 victory. So that is game 1 for today. There is a game 2 today that will be at 4:40. So everybody stay tuned for that one. We'll see you back here.